good evening. Hope you have stayed cool for this day. We're doing our best. We're trying to get these shows out as quickly as possible. So hopefully to avoid any brownouts, outages, thunderstorms, anything of that nature, we're doing our best to do it. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for supporting us here on Q2Cast TV and Man with the Show. My name is Zane. Thank you for tuning in, especially on this Comic-Con special. We know San Diego Comic-Con is well underway. Wish I could be there, but hey, listen, let me tell you something. The way things are in California right now, it's not worth the trip or the money at this time period. And especially a lot of companies didn't show up this year. You know, not either they didn't show up at all or they didn't come in heavy. So Hall H is a little bit different this year. And, you know, a lot of people saying hopefully we're moving back to the way it was used to be. Comic books, which is very important because the comic book industry is dying. And we know that it's dying, but we're getting a gleam of light in the background, like Ethan Van Sciver and many others who are trying to create their own independent comic lines to compete with the garbage that Marvel and DC has put out in recent years. You know, there's some good stuff that's coming out, and of course, we're getting pushback from those probably don't even know the comic book industry well, or never picked up a comic, or picked up one comic and says, "Ooh, I don't like what's in that comic. We need to change this." And that's why this comic book industry is hurting, because there are a small percentage of people who are not really fandom, and they just want to interject their politics into our fandom, you know, and that's not fair. But anyway, let's get back to some major things, and we're just going to go over a couple of things. These are things that, you know, especially if you're out there, like I said in my last episode, a lot of the viewers that I get are watching on cell phones and tablets, so at least, you know, we know people are there. And if you are there, let me know in the comments. Tell me how things are going on there this year. You know, a lot of changes because, like I said, not a lot of the big companies, you know, Marvel, Warner Brothers, they're not, you know, expanded big this year. But we're going to talk about some things that I'm looking at, and some things that even if you're there, you should try to catch, you know, while you're there. One of the first things, and it's in Hall H, and I'm glad it's in Hall H on there. If you're familiar with the Batman Beyond animated TV series, you know, it had a great animated series by Warner Brothers. It's one of my big favorites. You know, it won 2 Emmys. It won several awards on there, including the Emmys. It starred Kevin Conroy. You know him. You love him as Batman. He plays an aging Batman in this. And Will Friedle plays Terry McGinnis. If you're not familiar, you've been in a deep hole. Batman Beyond is a futuristic look at the Batman universe. Batman is an elderly man now, has hung up the mantle, and now there is a new Batman around, played by Will Friedle, and he plays Terry McGinnis, who lost his father to some bad guys, and now he's taking up the mantle of Batman to fight the villains that Batman has fought in the past. Some are old, some are new, mostly new. We got, you know, it's some great storylines. You know, I love what they did with the Jokers, that they turned the Joker into a gang, and basically because he's been long dead, and basically, you know, now there's like a Joker gang, and they go around causing havoc. But through the eyes of the creators of Batman Beyond, there was a movie done, a mini movie, Batman Beyond, The Return of the Joker. Mark Hamill reprised the Joker voice, and it was a fantastic mini movie that was done. You know, the series is over, you know, and they did a closure of the series in the Justice League, the last season of the Justice League TV series as well. And, you know, like I said, this is the 20th anniversary, and, you know, they set a lot of new standards for storytelling, because a lot of the arcs are very well done. And, you know, now that we have Hush coming out also, which hopefully that'll be good. And we have the Teen Titans series, the Young Justice out, and hopefully we're going to get another season of that. Hopefully that'll be news. But what's next for the Batman Beyond? It's the 20th anniversary. Now, we know we gotten some new comics and stuff like that. And one thing is that they are making some announcements. And one thing, and I'm hoping, now with Warner Brothers expanding in their animated universe and they, closing in on that they would resurrect this series. I would love them to announce this there. It would be fantastic. I mean, even a new comic series would be fantastic as well. I mean, like I said, I love this series. It's very, very good, and for them to announce a new series at Comic-Con, I think that would be one of the biggest things, because they said there are some announcements that they're going to be making. So let's hope, cross fingers on that. Now, another thing to keep an eye out, and it's also going to be on Hall H, is the highly anticipated Netflix series, The Witcher, and starring Henry Cavill. And we've seen a little bit here, a little bit there. Are we going to get a full trailer for this series? It's based on the fantasy books. It's centering around a famed monster hunter played by Cavill. We also going to be getting some great special effects and stuff like that. Netflix on some of these series have done some hits and misses. I'm hoping this is a hit. I mean, at first a lot of people were saying, "Oh, I don't know." Some of the stuff stories we were hearing. Now we're seeing a changeover that possibly this could be a major hit for Netflix, especially now that we're getting so many series, and the streaming wars are beginning because Disney is getting into this, Amazon, Warner Brothers, so many companies now, they're going to have their own sites and adventures and stuff like that. They're going to have their own series. Disney's going to be doing their Marvel and a couple other series through Hulu and Disney Plus. Amazon's got a couple of series coming out, like The Boys will be out later this month. So we got to watch for The Witcher. We hope we get a full trailer. We should probably know within the next 48, 72 hours. And hopefully it'll be good. And, staying with the Netflix, the other thing, and it's going to be out next month, and we've seen a full trailer, but I think we need to see a little bit more of the behind the scenes. And I'm hoping that they have, because there's supposed to be a major sneak peek of this at Hall H on there. And what I'm talking about is one of the greatest fantasy films ever made, and it was made by Jim Henson, is The Dark Crystal. The series that's coming out, The Age of Resistance, which is the prequel series to the movie. If you have not seen this original movie, catch it. It is, I believe, Netflix has it, and I think Amazon has it also as well. And it is fantastically done. One thing about this, and I'm glad they stayed with this in this new series, is that this was all done by puppets. There was not that much graphic effects. In fact, when the original movie came out, graphic effects were just beginning, really. And for them to stay in that same category, to use puppets in this, I'm sorry, allergies, to stay in puppets, use it, and create a beautiful world once again. That same world, that, with the Gelfings and the Skeksis, and to see the beginning of the revolution to try to stop the Dark Crystal. I mean, it is fantastic. I love the original movie. I've seen it already 2 more times recently. And, if you haven't seen it, catch it before this series comes out. I'm hoping that they'll show, like I said, a heavy behind the scenes. Because to film something of this nature, project. It's just enormous. They don't make movies like this anymore, which sets like this. I mean, mostly everything is done like either CG'd in the background, green screen and stuff like that. For out to go out and build these sets once again. I mean, some of them were still, I guess, I still had them in storage to bring them back out again, dust them off, fix them a bit, and to use them again for this movie. I mean, this movie, the original movie was 1982. And if you go back then, like I said, the internet and computer graphics, you know, I think if you look back, I think between Tron, Black Hole, and another movie called The Last Starfighter, which had unusual effects as far as CG effects, the early days of those. You look at something like The Dark Crystal, and you have to enjoy it for the way they created it, by lighting effects and, you know, camera angles and shots. And that's a very good way to put it. So this is something to look forward to on there, to bring this world back to life again on your home screen. I'm hoping that they show this on a big screen. You know, maybe they may show an episode, and it'll be interesting to see it on a wide screen. So remember, Dark Crystal, I think it's supposed to be sometime in August on there on Netflix. Now, we've discussed this channel before, and I'm glad they're not getting a big room. I think it's 6 BCF is the room that they're using at this. I'm surprised they didn't get a Hall H. They should have got a Hall H for this. If you're familiar, and I've discussed this before, the Shudder network, which is basically a sister station to the AMC network, which basically they show a lot of great horror films. If you have Amazon Prime, it's about $6-7 a month more, or you can also get it for that much outside independently. And the one, if you get it independently outside on their app, there is a live feed which they're running movies 24/7, including right now, I think they're on a hiatus, is the Joe Bob Briggs Drive-In Show, which is hosted by Joe Bob Briggs. He shows 2 movies every Friday night. Gives his great commentary, which he's always been fantastic. He's been known. He did Monster Vision and another series on the Movie Channel where he discusses movies. He gives his 2 cents on it, and he gives details, and he has fantastic guests from these movies on there. You can catch the previous episodes available on Shudder right now, and there's a whole slew of movies, everything from Phantasm to Street Trash, and it is a great way to watch these movies. I got my wife into it, and she loves watching because she's a big horror fan. And now, because of this, here's another big announcement coming through. If you haven't watched another one of my episodes, if you remember Creep Show, that great anthology movie series, remember George Romero and Stephen King directed that, written by Stephen King and George Romero. They did 2 movies. I don't count the third movie as being part of theirs. It was awful. I mean, some people says the Tales from the Dark Side was actually the real Creep Show 3, since it was done by George Romero. But we are getting a TV series done by Greg Nicotero. If you're familiar with him from The Walking Dead, in fact, the panel is a who's who on there. We're also going to get Trisha Helfer from Battlestar Galactica, Joe Hill, who's the son of Stephen King, who's doing the Nosferatu series on AMC. But I'm hoping that we're going to get a full trailer to this. It's great to see that they brought this back. I mean, Twilight Zone is doing horribly. We also saw the Tales from the Crypt series has been put on the shelf. Shudder has been doing pretty good in the programming they're coming. They're still small, even though they're AMC network, but they're building up a good fan base. My wife watches Shudder on a constant basis. She's always finding some new horror flick that she had not seen yet, and she'll watch it more than once. That's the one thing about my wife. If she loves the film, she will watch it more than once. So we're hoping to get a Creepshow trailer. That is my big thing. We hope we get that, to see that back finally, back in our midst again. That because it was so abruptly after Creepshow 2, and then you had a horrible. If you haven't seen that Creepshow 3, it is the most horrible thing you'll ever see. And like I said before, a lot of people believe that the way Tales from the Dark Side, the movie, was made, because since George Romero was involved and Stephen King, that was really the Creepshow 3 that should have been. Of course, Creepshow is one of my favorites that I'm expecting, but here's the other. And why did they not get a Hall H that they're in the Indigo Ballroom? The Expanse. One of the best science fiction TV series on TV right now, canceled by Sci-Fi Channel, which was the stupidest thing to do, now resurrected because of the fans through Amazon itself. Season 4 coming on later this year. Some of the cast is going to be there. I think Stephen Strait, Wes Chapman, Frankie Adams, Cass Anwyd, Dominique Tipper, and of course the executive producers are going to be there. But what I'm expecting is a full trailer, a massive full trailer. If you have not seen this series, go to Amazon Prime Video. All 3 seasons are available on Amazon itself. This is one of the series. It's unbelievable, this series. And, I have missed it on the first run. I think about towards season 3, the beginning of season 3, I started to watch this. And it got me hooked. It is a fantastic. And you can ask anyone else, Nerdrotic, any of the other guys on YouTube, and they'll tell you this is a true science fiction show. And you may say to yourself, well, they'll probably... No, it has a very good, diverse cast, and it doesn't have to say so. See, that's what I say. We can have science fiction with a diverse cast and don't have to promote it that way. The story is very good. It's well written, based on the novel series on there. I don't know how far they're going to get on this series, where they're going to go on here. For those of you, I'm not going to drop anything on there, how it ended on season 3. You need to go back and go look at that. If you have, so the viewers that haven't seen the series yet, catch it. It is a great series. You have people from Earth, the Martians, and what they call Belters, who are just basically trying to survive a major situation that's going on. And like I said, the book series is fantastic. And they've pretty much stayed true, except for a couple of things. But, they stayed true to the novels themselves. But there are some things that they've either jumped ahead or skipped over. Hopefully they'll get back to it on season 4. I mean, this is fantastic. I love that this is back. And then, of course, there's another series a new series based on this another indie, a science fiction. I call it a juggernaut because basically this came out of nowhere, and I always tell people, it says, if you haven't seen this, do truly catch it. If you want to catch a really good movie, it's Snowpiercer. Snowpiercer is now going to be a TV series on TBS. I don't know if that would have been a great decision to go there, but nevertheless, we're getting a series, this apocalyptic sci-fi thriller. Basically, it's a deal with several studios, including ITV Studios. You have Jennifer Connelly, Davy Diggs, Allison Wright, Mickey Summers, Lena Hall, Stephen Ogg. It's basically the population of the world are on this train going cross country after there's some apocalyptic has happening in places like freaking a blizzard. It's snow all over the place, and what's left of humanity is on this train. And basically, they've decided to continue the story on television, which is fantastic. And I'm hoping for a trailer on this one and some of the behind scenes. I didn't get who's going to be there. I would assume most of the cast will be there. I'm wondering if some of the cast from the movie will be there as well. That'll be interesting to see if that happens. But Indigo Ballroom, Snowpiercer, we're going to get that sometime, hopefully the fall, on there. They haven't given it an exact date, and we'll probably find out the exact date on there. And then, of course, we talked about Thor Ragnarok and TW, the director, on there. But there's also going to be a What We Do in the Shadows, I guess, the introduction into Season 2, which is, I believe it's well underway being shot for next season. If you haven't caught the series, and I've discussed this before, if you haven't caught the series, catch it right now. FX has it, which is now Disney. It is a great series. It also made by a great movie. Taki is in it, in the original movie, and makes a special appearance with some of the cast from the movie into the TV series. So it is great. A bunch of vampires living together in a house, and a documentary film crew is filming their daily adjustments to a world that is much different to them than what they remember from the old days. And it is funny as hell, including this one right now. It's being shot in New York, out on Staten Island, and to see some of the spots on Staten Island that they're shooting this on, it's funny, because there's some history behind some of the stuff on there where they're shooting at, and many other things have been shot out there. Marvel's been shooting out there. Gotham was shoot out in areas where this series is being shot. Expecting all the cast members to be here. That's something to look forward to. Is there going to be a trailer? I don't think so. There'll probably be like a little backstep to the series, maybe some messages from the original cast. That will be nice. But it's something to catch if you're over there. Hopefully we'll have some more news on Season 2, for What We Do in the Shadows. And we'll look for that as well. And then, of course, we've been waiting for the Rick and Morty main trailer to come out. I know that they're supposed to be showing episode 1 for this new season at one of the concerts, one of the Adult Swim concerts that's happening, and I do expect them to show it here at Comic-Con. But there's another piece to a puzzle that basically Justin Roiland is working on, and he's getting I guess with all the money he's getting for 70 episodes of Rick and Morty, he's able to go do another series, basically for the Hulu, I guess for Disney for 2020, a series called Solar Opposites, which is basically, from what I understand, it's following a family of aliens who basically taking refugee in Middle America. How much do you think what's going to happen with that? Knowing Rick and Morty, how crazy is that going to be? Especially since it's going to be on Hulu, so basically they won't have their hands tied on basically what they could. Because if you ever see Forget About It, that alone tells you what they can do on a TV series on there, animated. And of course, it's going to be Justin Roiland. We're supposed to get Sean Giabrone from the Goldbergs, Mary Mack from Golan the Insatiable, and of course, executive producer Mike McMahon, who also does Rick and Morty as well, will be there, and Josh Bicel for Happy Endings. And they're going to, I guess we're going to see some sort of trailer or something of that, to the nature of that. So not only that we're going to get a Rick and Morty new season, we're going to get another series from Rick and Morty, since the video game has done very well as well. They had that real crazy video game. I haven't even got into that yet. But what I've seen from the people playing it online, it is a crazy video game. But, of course, from the minds of Rick and Morty, you get another TV series, it's probably going to be just as crazy. So let's keep an eye out for that as well. Now, here's the last thing. And, like I said, these are some things to look forward to. And not the major big things. I could have talked about Walking Dead. I could have talked about The Terror, the season 2, The Infamy. A lot of other series. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. getting a Hall H also. But these are the things that I think to me sticks out and, that we're going to expect, great potential from these things. And another thing is going to be, this is going to be on 2 levels. I think tomorrow, and then later on the weekend, you'll be able to catch this. Pennyworth. Now, DC is putting this out through Warner Brothers, and this has been highly anticipated since the end of the Gotham series. What this is, the executive Bruce Heller is doing this, who also did Gotham. We're focusing more on Alfred. Which is, I'm glad they're doing this because they kind of little focused it on, I think it was either in the Batman animated series. They did an episode or 2 on this. If you're not familiar on the backstory on Alfred Pennyworth's life, is that he used to be a British SAS soldier when he was in his 20s. And now he's going to form a security company, and that's what the base of the series, with Thomas Wayne, which is Bruce Wayne's father. We're going to see a Batman? No, we're not going to see a Batman. Don't expect a Batman. Because this is basically going to take place in the 60s. And it's going to be just set around Thomas Wayne and Pennyworth, which I love to see stuff like that. It is very good that they're doing something like this. Will it be good? I hope so, kind of toward the end of the Gotham series, it kind of faltered a little bit, but it was okay. But to see something like this, which you're going to see Jack Bannon playing Pennyworth, and also, Ben Aldridge, who will play Thomas Wayne. It's going to be 1960s, so it'll be sort of almost like a Austin Powers time period, but in Britain. I would say most of this is probably going to be in Britain. And then we'll probably script it into Gotham as well. But it's gonna be interesting to see Thomas Wayne in his youth, and also Pennyworth in his youth as well. The adventures that they can have, because like I said, he used to be SAS. So basically, secret agent man here. Pennyworth, worth a lot and worth of every penny that he's worth. We'll probably see a lot of action on this. And like I said, I'm glad. We went through all these that I've discussed before. And like I said, these are the things to look forward to. It's probably going to be a lot of trailers, stuff that is, Comic-Con related, but wasn't there at Comic-Con, or stuff that will be released secretly. I mean, I would love to see if they're going to do a major announcement to the Spider-Verse movie, the sequel, because there is one being developed. Are we going to expect that there? I don't know. I don't really know, but it is being developed. And there's a lot they could do with the sequel. I mean, I just saw Into the Spider-Verse. Fantastic movie. My wife thoroughly enjoyed it as well. And she doesn't like that much animation. That's one thing about her. It's, basically animation and her she doesn't agree too well with it. But to see a great storyline that they did in this, and they're going to do a sequel, that would be fantastic as well. But are we going to see this at Comic-Con? I don't know. That's another wish I do have on there. And like I said, there's so many others that you could do. So comment below. Tell me what you're expecting out of Comic-Con this year. There's, so much that could have been, and there's a lot that that basically is there, but they're not really there. So tell me in the comments below. Keep the discussion going. We're on Minds gab.com. And you'll find us on BitChute, and you'll find us over on DLive as well. So, until Monday. That's right, Monday. It is Thursday. When, we didn't tape this on a Thursday. We taped it earlier. But Monday, we'll give, if anything major comes out of Comic-Con, of course, we'll give you a breakdown of it. We are watching other stories right now as well, as the Vic Mignogna case is progressing on there. Like I said, we're still sorting through the deposition. It is a very long deposition. We just finished Monaco Reals. We're still through the Vic Mignogna. And I don't know if Jamie Marchi is going to be doing a deposition. I know we're probably waiting for that. And when that's all done, we'll give just like a little bit of a synopsis of everything and how we felt about it, what we're going to expect. Because right now, at the moment, I'm expecting now, and it might just give you a quick thought. I think the TCPA is going to get thrown out the way the depositions went. So, like I said, it could change. Judge, I might be wrong, the judge on there. Plus, also, we're looking at the other suits. We're looking at the Star Trek lawsuit on there by Anas Abin. We're keeping a watch on that. There is a comics lawsuit going on as well. We're also monitoring the Pornhub purchase of Tumblr. There hasn't, I've had some people ask about that. We're still monitoring that as well. And there's so much that's going on there. So until Monday, have a good weekend. Stay cool. If you're at Comic-Con, enjoy it on there. Stay cool out there. Enjoy it. Sit back, relax, sip some nice cool drinks. Send me a t-shirt, please. I'm just kidding. Enjoy, and we'll see you. Subscribe, like, support, share. We'll see you on Monday.